Hello, everyone. So it's nighttime, and I thought I would do a very intimate video from my bed with my candle. There's one behind me. Actually, that's a mirror reflection. So, anyways, I want to talk about the dangers of being words for wisdom, the risks and consequences that I have agreed upon and have endured, and just more of the risks that I know, the eggshells that I'm walking on when it comes to delivering these messages, revealing these truths, and the expense that it costs my life. So I'll just make this very short and quick that I didn't really become too much aware of this until 2 weeks ago. The more I navigate into the Akashic records, the more I channel messages, the more I meditate and I receive different puzzle pieces that connect the dots. And there's a lot of you who've been following me for such a long time. You kind of know that everything that I've addressed, said, stated, or in theory had, proposed, or things that I have the word propagate in my head. There's sirens in the background. Everything that I've presented on my channel is all truth. It's all true. There's not one video, and I wouldn't brag about it, but there's just one video where I was off. It's because I gave a prophecy prediction. And what's fascinating is that was a dream vision that I had about what I saw happening, and it would have happened within 24 hours, but because I had it in my dream state, it kind of already took place on a multi-dimensional level. So a lot of things I'm learning are not in this physical, that they do happen in the astral. The siren's going off. Anyways, they're distracting. But yeah, so I wanted to talk about the dangers. Ironically, there goes the sirens. People don't understand that anytime anyone is using their own personal life force to astral project, or to even pray, keep it simple, prayer, meditation, yoga, you are transitioning through fourth dimensional frequency in order to tap into 5 and higher. And every time you're going back and forth, back and forth, back. It's almost like there's a swamp between the answers and where you are. And you're crossing that swamp every time, knowing that there could be some gators, some alligators, piranha, crawdaddies, algae, malaria. You remember the Hershey squirts? So there's a lot of risks that many people take. They just don't realize it. Like I look at some of the big leaguers in this YouTube channel, Truth Community, and a lot of them don't talk about their own personal afflictions. And I'm just like, I don't understand why they don't. I mean, I can understand, but I guess my ego is like, if they would just show a little transparency what they're going through, it will make more authentic validation to their following the toll and the tax that people take on to do this. And I think a lot more and more people are becoming a little bit more personable and transparent about their journeys. They're really sharing a lot. And I think that changes the future. I mean, that's the whole point is we're here on a guessing game trying to figure out how to get the hell out of here, right? Everybody. We're all tired. We're all exhausted. Nothing makes sense anymore. Um, Knowing more truth is only causing more restriction on what you do. I mean, even for me recently, would have never thought that I would be a suspect of targeted, they call it targeted justice. I never thought I would be a targeted individual. But then knowing all the dark corners and secrets and things like that I've had in my history, I can understand why those situations have attracted into my timeline. Now being awakened and knowing more truths, it's more of a higher threat to those sources. Even yesterday, I ran into an old best friend of mine, and I always get emotional about this because he's the one person on earth that will not forgive me. He just chooses not to. He just doesn't. I've never witnessed someone with so much resentment towards. We've had a lot of very deep conversations. And I realized that being his closest friend throughout most of our adulthood, I basically took his whole timeline and I carried it out in my spiritual journey. And I realized it yesterday. And I'm able to cry. I'm able to release. I'm able to feel my old self coming back to my body again. Like the person that I used to be, and for some odd reason, it's like I switched, where I took on his soul and carried out his awakening journey because he would not wake up. He would not compromise. He would not believe in faith. He would not have higher belief, higher faith in anything. So, I mean, but I would understand that's what best friends would do. You would lay your life for them. You would die for them. You would take a bullet for them. And I think when we were younger, we weren't careful of saying those things. And so we automatically create a contract. And that's just what we did. All of us. All the things that we've said. And my other close friend, which I shared about here, he died 3 years ago. And that's when this person I ran into yesterday, that's when he abandoned our relationship. He's like, you're just in a really sad, miserable place. I can't be your friend. And it's like, I've had his back. I've done so much for him for so long. And that's what he did. So ran into him yesterday. He's a client at my job. And he's been trying his hardest to avoid me. And I keep trying to tell him there's no reason to avoid me. You know, I have to do my job and you enjoy being there. So it's all positive. But he just doesn't believe that I'm the new version of myself. You know, and that's just the difference between people who don't wake up. They're still in that old timeline, that old time frame, and everyone is still the same. It's kind of weird. It's like no matter what I say, I'm never going to be this Aaron that you guys know right now. I'm not that person to one of my long-term friends that I've known. So that shows you that there is a multi-dimensional overlay. But I was talking to my mom yesterday, and we were sharing a lot about wisdom and Pandoras Box. And my mom, I was really shocked, but she's like, it's the Adam and Eve effect. And I'm like, girl, like, who told you? Like, that's something that I say, the the Adam and Eve effect. Like, who knew that knowledge would bring so much torment, turmoil, and suffering when you could have just lived a life without questioning? But same as the Matrix, red pill, blue pill. I mean, I don't think there really was a choice. I don't think there was a choice. Like, do you want to live your life or do you want to know why you're living your life? And I think we've all chosen that side of consciousness. That's why we deliver messages. We're doing so much to save each other. We're bringing forth a lot of awareness to keep everyone awake, to keep them on a higher vibration. But I just don't think that a lot of our vibrations are high. They're not staying up at all. It's just the frequency of the earth is so strong and heavy that the earth doesn't need us to raise our vibrations for the earth. I think that's what is hindering us. We're putting too much focus and we're putting a lot of our needed energy into places where they're unneeded. I try to put vibration back into myself by laughing. I have my TV off. I ripped the cords out of the TV so I do not watch the news. Though I had some very favorite news anchors, but I have to shift myself out of that paying attention to everything. I just don't want to hear about another mass shooting. I don't want to hear about the fires in California. I just kind of want a bubble where it's just me and this bubble, and I'll reach out to everybody through these videos and through social media. I'll get information that way, but I'm just exhausted. I'm so exhausted. Imagine being a dance instructor of essentially 11 to 15 classes a week. You're taking on 20 to 30, maybe 40 people at a time, 2 times a day, 6 days a week. Then you're getting messages you're channeling. Then you're trying to find time to even just get on your knees and pray. And then you have your acquaintances, your dates, your hookups that carry 4D energy. And because you've already acquainted with them, you've already been intimate with them, you've already made a contract with them. So it carries on with you as well. Everybody has a cord. And it's like kind of like re-cleansing and purging over and over and over. Or if you don't, those energies have ways to get into your mind. Then you start mimicking behavior. Doesn't mean that you carry out and do things, but you mimic behavior. And I've always shared about my family and their personalities, and the bloodline that I come from is very in-depth too. So I understand a lot of the suffering that I'm going through is mainly because the bloodline I come from, it was exactly this. They had a focus, they had a destination, they didn't complete their mission, and they had a lot of distractions. And so it's like an ongoing, repeated construct in a way. But I'm still encouraged. I think that's the one thing that keeps me together is encouragement. Because my mom, she says, I don't know how you can stand up and go back into your next day. I don't know how you're still, she's just like, I don't understand how strong you are. I don't understand where it comes from. You just get right back up and you have your sanity. She's like, I would have lost my mind. So I just wanted to leave you guys with that these are risks worth taking. Those brought me into a lot of sadness recently. It's a different kind of sadness. It isn't like pity or feel bad for me sadness. It's more of like realization of the bigger picture. That the bigger picture is presenting more. It's not even like darkness. It's like it's kind of like the shade when there's too much sun. It's a relief that there's some shade. But then sometimes the shade can bring a little bit of some coldness or that wind that chill that you're like, oh. So I think that's just what I'm realizing that I am that shade over certain people who don't have too much information, and sometimes it's best that way. Because when you know so much, on the other side of the umbrella is a lot of resistance against a lot of heat, a lot of pressure. Yeah, and then in consequence, too, my timeline gets sabotaged. People alter around you at work, your friendships alter, personalities trigger because you're tapping into all these different levels. And a lot of times, too, when I'm diving into these, I call them mysteries because it was King Solomon that said many people will look at the mysticisms, but no one will really walk the mysteries. And I kind of commend myself because I feel like I have been one of the very few people who walks and discovers the mysteries, and I present, the evidence. But it's not like I can prove anything because there's no physical way to show stuff. It's just on a astral, etherical, on that kind of level is where I just know I'm connecting the dots on behalf of these great legends who started these things and they, abruptly stopped or went insane, lost their mind. But anyways, I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey and for your support. And yeah, I'm going to keep doing this. We've already gotten so far with this journey. It makes no sense to pause, stop, or double back. Is that the word? Anyways, I love you guys, and I hope the filter works because I recorded myself in the dark. So let's see if the filter works. Good night, everybody.